Dear students, welcome back to English class. Today we will go for one of the most useful grammar topics of your second year, second semester English. That is common errors. So as we all aware that English is second language for us. It's not our native language. We are the foreign learners for English. So not, naturally we commit mistakes either in the grammar or in the pronunciation or in punctuation, whatnot. So it is very common among young students to commit mistakes. But to know what mistakes that we are doing, and if you are aware of them, uh, then definitely you can avoid them so that you can improve your language very well. And this topic is more useful even in your competitive examination. If you take any competitive examination, common errors will be one of the topics for you. So get mastery over it, practice it, then apply in your everyday life. Pay some attention, special focus to it so that you will be learning. Most of the cases, you know the answers, but sometimes we make a mistake by not taking it very serious. Okay, so let me share my screen. So the topic is common errors. So we hear two words, error and mistake. So what is error and what is mistake? They seem to be synonymous, but there is a difference between these two words. What is a mistake? A mistake is usually a wrongly taken or a false judgment of or a choice. So either it may be a false judgment or a false choice, or it was wrongly taken. So that is what we call a mistake. Then what is an error? Error is to stray or wander, a deviation from truth made through ignorance. That means a noticeable deviation from the norm. Norm means the grammar set rules, resulting from lack of knowledge of the correct rule. Error occurs because the speaker is not aware of the correct form. If the speaker is not aware of the correct form, and if he is unable to see select properly, then if it is a deviation from the regular norm, then that is what we call an error. Then what is a mistake? A mistake is a lapse or a failure to use a system that is known to the user. That means the speaker knows it but can be self-corrected as users knows the norm. Users know the rules or else the norms, but they may commit a mistake. That means they can correct themselves. So mistakes are known things that can be corrected well, whereas errors are, see, they are not aware of the norm or the rule. So that's why errors and mistakes have some distinction between one to the other, but we normally commit both. We make errors and we commit mistakes. So let us be careful about it. So I will give you some examples where we see normally do errors. Why we commit these errors? That is a, if you just go for the introduction, you will find India is the second highest English speaking population in the world. And moreover, the very peculiarity of our country is most of us, we are non-native speakers of English language, and English is spoken here as the second language. So it is quite natural that we do make errors, isn't it? So errors, maybe it is usually we find errors in subject verb agreement, or in the tenses, or in the parts of speech called articles, prepositions, wrong use of adjectives and adverbs. Okay, so that way we may also commit some errors with regard to parts of speech, and we have We can also make some errors in spelling and also in punctuation. So in all the mediums, we will see we often commit errors. So let us take some examples and see. So the first one is myself, I am Suresh Babu. So looking at the sentence seems to be right, but if you look at myself, I am Suresh Babu. Myself is a reflexive pronoun here, and I is a pronoun here. So both pronouns that we have used together. So myself is not necessary here. The reflexive pronoun myself is not necessary. If you just can say I am Suresh Babu, that's okay. That means both see pronouns are used in the sentence. So one is enough, and more particularly, I am Suresh Babu is okay, or myself Suresh Babu, but not myself I am Suresh Babu. Okay. Then the second example, if you take, I am having four brothers and three sisters. The right answer is I have four brothers and three sisters. Sorry, here it is sisters. Four brothers and three sisters. Why I am having and has become I have. I am having is used as a possession, isn't it? So there is a see norm in our English language, the grammar, that the verbs of possession should not be, or the sensory perception should not be in the continuation form. That's why I am having four brothers is wrong. Should say instead I have four brothers. I am having a car. You can't say. You should say I have a car. So I am see any even for or what you call sensory perceptions also you should not use, isn't it? You don't say I am hating her. You can say I hate her. So this is a grammar norm that we have when you are using the continuous form. Then if you go for the next sentence, he did not wrote the test last week. He did not wrote the test last week. If you look at the main verb is did, and the wrote is also in past form. So both past forms are not necessary here. You can write he did not, then the other thing must be in the first form. So he did not itself is in past form. So no need to write wrote, it should be written in the first form. So the main verb is did. So he did not write the test last week. So that way you can correct the sentences. Look at these examples. I came to office by walk. Instead, you should say, I came to office on foot. Usually, for means of transport, we use the word by. For example, he came by a train. You can say he came by a bike. So when you are using see means of transport, you should use by as a preposition. But here there are no means of transport. That's why we say it as on foot. So don't use by walk, but the right expression is on foot. So the right answer is I came to office on foot. Then look at the another example. His son-in-laws have come home. So the intention of the sentence is the plural, that is sons-in-law must be used, but here laws have improved, have increased than the sons. So it should be his sons-in-law have come home. That means when you are making it a plural, don't add yes to law, but add to the son or daughter. So sons in law is the right expression. Then if you go for the next one, I prefer coffee than tea. I prefer coffee to tea. Whenever prefer comes, we should use to. I prefer coffee to tea. Likewise. So the same case is applied when it is for superior and inferior. When you are using superior and inferior as words, then you have to use the prepositions like he is superior to me, he is inferior to me, we should say. But whenever you are using the word prefer, we should say than. Than should not be used. We should say to. I prefer coffee to two. He is senior to me. Sen- Then, where I can find a bank. So the correct expression is where can I find a bank. So what is the problem here? Where I can find a bank. So the question in the question in the see given statement, the framing of question is wrong. That is where I can. I is the subject and can is the verb. So usually in the say assertive sentences, we get the subject first, then later the subject. That's the reason why I can is in the assertive sentence form or in the statement form. So instead of that, you have to use where can I. The verb should come first, then later the subject. Then it becomes a question. So in all the questions, the rule is or the norm is you have to use the verb first, then later the subject. If this is the structure, then it is a question. Not just mere having a question mark at the end, it will become a question. So you have to check that whether the verb has come before the subject or not. If the verb has come before the subject, then that is a question. So I have corrected it in this way that where can I find a bank? So that is the right answer. Then look at these things. Correct is I live in United States. I live in United States. So we say I live in the United States. As we all aware, in articles we will come across that a group of nations or group of mountains will come. We use the definite article the. So when you say United States, so we have to use the before it because it is group of states. That's the reason why we are using I live in the United States. Then go for the next question. I have been here since 3 months. I have been here since 3 months. So sentence appears to be right, but since is used for the point of time and for is used for the period of time. That means whenever you are using since, you should say since 8 a.m., since 5 a.m., or since this morning, since yesterday, you can say. So at what point the action has started, when you are referring to the point of time, we have to use since. Whenever you are referring to the period of time, like 3 months, like 2 hours or 2 days for the last 20 minutes. When you are mentioning the amount of time, then we have to use for. So here I have been here since 3 months. 3 months is a period of time, not the point of time. So we can say I have been here since 1996. That way you can say that is the point of time. But here we have the period of time. That means 3 months of time is a period of time. When period of time comes, we have to use for in the place of since. That's the reason why answer is I have been here for 3 months. Okay, is it clear for you? Then you can give me an information. We use the counter, we use a and for countable nouns, right? So when you are saying information, it cannot be used. Now, how can you say, can you give me some information? Again, there is one more correction in the first sentence. That is, you can give me an information. Yes, put a question mark. How can it become a question without having a verb before the subject? So we have made it, can you give me? And again, not an information, but some information. That way, the answer is, can you give me some information? Then look at the other. She and her friends is at the fair. She and her friends is at the fair. She and her friends. This is about say the agreement between subject and verb. We call it as concord. If what is conquered? The conquered is nothing but the agreement between subject and verb. If the subject is singular, verb must be singular. If the subject is plural, verb must be plural. So she and her friends, whether it is singular or plural, it is plural. So we are using what? A plural verb called are. So she and her friends are at the fair is the correct one. And she and her friends both together forms as a noun, and this noun is plural, so we are using a plural be form, plural verb, that is are. So she and her friends are at the fair. Then go for the next one. One of the doors are open. When you look at, one of the doors are open, it is not doors. Okay, it is not doors, but it is one of the doors. That means one among the, maybe a dozen doors or half a dozen or a four, three, like that, isn't it? One of the doors are open means the door opened is only one. So that's the reason why one of the doors always represents a singular subject. So it's not doors, but it is one of the doors, one among the doors. So the subject, when the subject is singular, then we have to use a singular verb. So one of the doors is open. So these two examples, she and her friends, one of the doors, these two examples are on agreement between subject and verb. As we discussed earlier, the corrections may be in between agreement between subject and verb, tenses, okay, then punctuation, some parts of speech and all that. If you look at the first example, it is on the part of speech, okay. Then if you part of speech called article there, then I have been since that is an example for a preposition. Then can you give, it's about making the question and some general correction. And if you look at the last two, they are on conquer. That means agreement between subject and verb. So, see, here are the examples taken, the questions taken from your textbook, and they are under exercises for you, and you need to see, get acquainted with them and use them properly, so that you can give the right answers in the examination. Correct the following sentences. So the chair is made of the wood. So the chair is made of the. When do we use a definite article there? When you are specifically referring to something. When you are see, when you are talking in a general sense, don't use. When you are specifically referring something, we have to use uh, definite article the. So it's not necessary the chair is made of wood. In a general way, we are saying whether it is a wooden chair or some other material chair we are talking about. So wood is a material noun, so we need not write the before it when it is said in a general way. So the chair is made of wood is the correct answer. Then he always eats a piece of chocolate after lunch. Eats a piece of chocolate. It's not a piece of chocolate, it is a piece of chocolate. Piece of chocolate and a piece of chocolate are see two different things. Piece of chocolate is one, but as a whole. But when you talk about a piece of chocolate, that means some part of some portion of it you have taken. So you have taken some portion of chocolate after lunch. That's why eats a piece of chocolate should be there. She told the interesting story. So we don't know the what is that interesting story. So she told the interesting story. You need not use definite article the. We are usually we are saying in a general way. So use an indefinite article there. So instead of using a definite article the, we are using an indefinite article. She told an interesting story. Then look at the fourth one. He has good idea about the matter. So he has a good idea. He has good idea about the matter. So he has good. It should be used with an article there. So he has a good idea. About the matter, not about the matter. It should be of the matter. When you say about the matter, are you not talking about talking the matter? When you are talking the matter, then why should we say about the matter? So better the best express the right way of expressing the thing is he has a good idea of the matter. Then go for the fifth question. I saw him in yellow car. I saw him in yellow car. Which yellow car? A yellow car. When you are talking about in a general way, so we have to use a yellow car. So if we look at these examples, most of the examples are on using the article. Okay. So whether the article is necessary or not, if at all necessary, whether you are to use a definite article or an indefinite article. Okay. Then, if you look at the sixth example, people consider him as a great leader. So, people consider him a great leader is the right answer. You need not say I is a great leader. When you say I is a great leader, it denotes he is not a great leader, but he is I is a great leader. So, there is a lot of confusion in it. So don't say I is a great leader. You are talking about people considered him a great leader. The meaning is very clear here. I agree with your proposal. I agree to your proposal. So whenever you are using agree, whenever you are using agree with, you can say I agree with you. When you agree with the person, you can say with. When you agree to means a thing. I agree to your proposal. Your proposal is a thing. So I agree to it. Your proposal in the place you can say it. I agree to it or I agree to your proposal. So I agree with your proposal should not be there. So I agree with you, you can say. Okay. So they started, the next one is they started to Karimnagar. They started from Karimnagar, you can say, or they started for Karimnagar, you should say. They started to Karimnagar. Of course, your destination is to Karimnagar, but you should not say that they started from Karimnagar or for Karimnagar. If you are starting from Karimnagar, you can say they started from Karimnagar. If you are going for Karimnagar, you can say they started for Karimnagar, but not to. Next question. They will return in this month. They will return in this month. Return means what? Coming back. Coming back this month is enough. Not in this month, because in is already understood there. So you don't write in there. So the correct answer is they will return this month is the right answer. Next one, I suffer with short sightedness. Whenever you are using the word suffer, suffer is followed by the preposition from. He is suffering from malaria. He is suffering from cholera. You can say, but not suffer with, isn't it? So malaria won't get suffered, isn't it? I suffer with short-sightedness. That means in whenever you are using suffer, you have to use the preposition from. I suffer from short-sightedness. Okay. So again, there is one more exercise given in your textbook. The police will cancel your driving license if you will break the rules again. So they, in the combination of tenses, will come across that if one sentence is in the simple present tense, the other must be in the simple future. That means if the conditioned part is in the simple present, the other must be in the simple future. If you look at the police will cancel is in the future tense. If you will break the rules is in the future tense. So the police will cancel your driving license is a future activity. Then what should be the condition? If you break the rules again. If you break the rules again, what will happen? the police will cancel your driving license. So if you break the rule is in the simple present tense form, the police will cancel your driving license is in simple future. So whenever you are using the combination of tenses, see that one is in the present tense, simple present tense, the other must be in the simple future tense. Usually simple present tense sentence must be having a condition. So if you break, if you call me, I shall go, isn't it? So like if you invite me, I will come. So like that, if any condition part is there, that must be in the present tense. The other must be the next follow-up activity. The is what we call the must be written in future tense. So it is the simple present tense and the simple future tense combination. Go for the next one. It is time they start. It is time they start. Uh, is incomplete. You should say it is time they started. That means they have started because it is time. It is time they started. He lives in Delhi for 5 years. He lives in Delhi for 5 years. He lives is in the simple present tense. And the 5 years is the period of time. So whenever there is a period of time, instead of using simple present tense, we have to use present perfect continuous tense. That means they came to Delhi 5 years ago and still they are living in Delhi. So when it is the action has started some time ago in the past and continues at the time of speaking, should always be written in present perfect continuous tense. So he lives in Delhi is okay, but he lives in Delhi for 5 years. When you are mentioning the time and giving the reference that he came to Delhi for 5 years ago and still living in Delhi. So that must be written in present perfect continuous. So he has been living in Delhi for 5 years. Or else in the present perfect form also you can write he has lived in Delhi for 5 years. That means he is not living now. He has lived for in Delhi for 5 years. That way also it can be written. If I had known of your arrival, I would meet you. So in see combination of the tenses, we have this. If I had known of your arrival, I would have met you should be the answer. Because had known should go with would have, isn't it? So if I had known of your arrival, I would have met you. So there are 3 to 4 C's and combinations like this, like simple past plus simple future, and the past perfect tense plus future perfect tense. Like that, you should have a combination. He was late, so he is scolded by his teacher. When you look at the sentence, some part of the sentence is in the present form and some other part is in the past form. So if you look at he was late is in the past tense, he is scolded by his teacher is in the present tense. So in a sentence, all parts must be in the same tense. So that's why we are making a correction with regard to tenses. So what we are doing, he was late is in the past. So I am converting he is into he was. So the right answer is he had been late, so he was scolded by his teacher. Look at the another example. The teacher is taking 2 classes today. The teacher is taking 2 classes today. We have written in present continuous form. But what actually it is? It is a decision or it is a usual practice. It is a decision that the teacher will take 2 classes today. So the right answer is the teacher will give 2 classes today, right? Not is taking, will give 2 classes. I am having a headache. Earlier we discussed about it. When you are talking about the sensory perceptions or the feelings, then we have to use only the present form, not continuous form. So don't say I am having a headache. Say I have a headache. Not having. I am having is present continuous, but we have written in the I have a headache. Look at the eighth sentence. When she sings, you can't help to listen to her. When she sings, you can't help to listen to her. See how you can make a correction. See, you can't help to listen to her has created some confusion. So, but see, remove it. When she sings, you can't help but listen to her, or else you can't help to listening to her. So both ways you can write. You can make a correction of it. So the right answer is when she sings, you can't help but listen to her, or else when she sings, you can't help to listening to her. Okay. He wants that I should do the work. See, he wants that I should do the work. He wants what I should do the work, isn't it? Not that. That is not a suitable conjunction here. That's not necessary at all. So we have to say, he wants me to do the work. I should do the work. See, I has mm, converted into me here. So to do the work is enough. He wants me to do the work is the correct expression. Then go for the next item. The students and the teacher is in the class. So the students and the teacher, this is about agreement between subject and verb. That means if the subject is singular, the verb must be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. So look at the sentence. The students and the teacher is in the class. That means the students and the teacher is plural. So we have to use a plural verb. The subject is in plural, that's why we have to use a plural verb. What is the plural verb for is are. So instead of saying the students and teacher is in the class, the correct answer is the students and the teacher are in the class. Students and teacher is plural, so we are using a plural verb. So here are some more questions given in your textbook. You need not to tell me again. So here to is not necessary. So you need not tell me again. Then they disposed of all the junk. So disposed of is a again a preposition, but don't use O double F. So OF of is the right preposition here. So they disposed of all the junk is a right answer. He is trying hard to cope up with the situation. So here again we have to use a suitable preposition. What is a suitable preposition here? He is trying hard to cope up with the situation. Cope with the situation, not cope up with the situation. Up is not necessary here. Did you ever read the Jungle Book? So did you ever read the Jungle Book is a question, but you are asking him whether he has already read it or not. So the right expression should be, have you ever read the Jungle Book? You will get the answer either yes or no. That means you are giving importance for the activity. So better use in present perfect tense like have you ever read the Jungle Book is more appropriate, especially when you are about asking others about whether they have already read or not. According to me, it is true. Don't say according to me. According to the instructions of the government, that way you can say, but not according to me. So we have to say, as per my knowledge, it is true. Or else you can say, to the best of my knowledge, it is true. So we use according to for referring certain things. Okay, according to rules and regulations, instructions, and all that we can say. But when you're talking about yourself, don't say according to me. but the right expression is as per my knowledge, it is true. Then sixth one is, if I will be late, I will call you. I told you in the in the previous slides that both should not be in the future tense. One must be in the present, the other must be in the future. Usually the condition part must be in the present, so the other activity must be in the future. If we say I am late, if I am late, I will call you. If I will be late, don't say if I will be late, because that is in future. So if I am late is in the present, I will call you is in the future. So this is the structure. Then if you go for the second one, she tried to quickly finish the book before she had to leave. So she tried to quickly finish the book before she had to leave. Both are in the past tense, but the more emphasis must be given for the first activity. When you are giving, say, importance for that, she had tried to finish the book quickly before she had to leave. So that is the right answer. While walking in the garden, he found a sparkling woman's bracelet. That means while walking in the garden, he found a woman's sparkling bracelet. When you say a sparkling woman's means the woman is sparkling, isn't it? Here the bracelet is sparkling, isn't it? So he found a woman's sparkling bracelet is the right answer. Okay. So please reply back immediately. When you say reply, that means you have to give answer in return. And when you are saying back, both are the meaning the same. So don't use return back. So reply back. So you can say please reply immediately. When you say please reply immediately, that means reply. That means please give back the reply or reply immediately, isn't it? So both reply and back both are using means the same. So we are using only reply. Then being a hard day, the old man did not go out. Don't say being a hard day. Who is being a holiday? Whether the old man is hard? No. So it being a holiday. That day is a hard day because of the heavy sun. So say it being a hard day, the old man did not go out. Should be the answer. So if you look at these examples, so we are going for more clarity.